Good evening, everyone. It is November 8th, 2023. This is the monthly meeting of Mansfield Sustainability Committee, and I will call the meeting to order. Welcome. We shall start by entertaining a motion to approve the August 9th minutes because we did not meet in.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. We got a motion by Matt, I think. A second.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Any comments or discussion? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Okay, great. So next agenda item is the report to the town council, which Ginny and I were present for on October 10th. And we had discussed that at a previous meeting. I gave an overview with some reminders of detail on the climate emergency resolution that was passed a couple of years ago, the commitments, what that involved, and that there was some good progress, but still a lot of work to be done. And staff and town council and the manager needed to be kind of have this at top of mind, that was a priority for this committee, and we stand ready to assist. We also, that was kind of an introduction to set the tone for the smart power discussion. As you'll recall, we've looked at joining smart power as a community. We've had Bob Wall and Patrice Gillespie address this committee. They were available on Zoom. Bob gave a short presentation to the council. The town manager had included I think he'd included the resolution to join in the packet. And at that time, I believe they voted to join pending final review by legal. Does that sound right?
I guess so, yeah.
Something like that. Regardless,
I thought they approved it, but yeah.
subsequently it's been actually approved and signed. So that is great. I think we'll have a little bit of an update on that next, but yeah, I'm trying to think if there were, I can't remember if there are any questions or comments from the council. Oh, well, there are a few on Power Smart about maybe why would residents want to do this, things like that. We emphasized that it was a voluntary program. It was simply an outreach program, and residents can decide what they want to do, giving them information on this opportunity. I think that was it. Ginny, do you have anything else to add, or do you remember anything else?
There was a question raised about the lithium-ion batteries. So, but no, I think that was it.
Yeah, and Bob Wall handled some of those questions. So, yeah, I think it's important to keep this stuff in front of the council, to keep them aware of what we're doing, at the very minimum, at least once a year. So, that was good, and we'll continue on that. And I guess that moves us into the next agenda item, which is the Power Smart campaign. So since all this, the approval by the council, I know Ginny and Bob Wall and Patrice and I have been on some emails talking about startup and what happens next. So I don't know, Ginny, you might be a better place to talk to that.
Yes. So the MOU is signed and executed, and they have a draft of a flyer for Mansfield, which I can show you if you want. But in conversation with Bob and Patrice, they said that we can start anytime we want to. So we actually looked at the calendar. We thought, well, they thought a hybrid meeting would be probably good. And so to do a hybrid meeting would mean using the town council chamber. And so I looked at when that is available. And they were available the next scheduled meeting that you have, which is December 13th. That's a Wednesday. And the council chamber is available right now on that date. So that would be the launch, and it would be in person. And but we could offer it as a hybrid introduction for whoever wanted to participate. So I wanted to find out if that would work for this committee to do that. And if so, what do you think is the best time to offer it?
So Jeannie, let me just ask, is that, it's basically a launch with our committee and PowerSmart, or are we looking to get members of the public there to actually like kick it off and provide information?
So one aspect of it would be to have somebody there who can speak to having solar and battery storage. So I think there are some people. Lynn, you're in the process, or are you already set up?
We are waiting yet again on Eversource to give the final thumbs up.
Okay.
So it's installed, but not running yet.
All right. So, but yeah, so I could, unless those of you know of people in Mansfield that have solar and battery backup, I think Paul Aho has it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
Paul would be good.
Yeah, okay. So
because he's done it fairly recently, and I think under these incentives.
Okay. So, and he's been using it for a while.
Yeah, he gave us a tour over the summer, so.
Okay. So he might be a person to contact, or if there's somebody else, I can ask the building department to see, who has pulled a permit for battery storage. So, you had to pull a permit, right, Lynn? For battery?
Yeah, the installer and people take care of that basically, but yes, the town has inspected it.
Okay. All right. So that would be a good way of finding out who else might be out there. So it would be introducing the program, having some residents speak to their experience with it. And yes, so it would be an introduction to, well, it's not a complete introduction to this committee, but it'd be an introduction to the community. So it's intended for the community to show up and who are interested and learn about it. So there are some, so how does that sound tentatively for the 13th?
What do people think?
And this would be in lieu of your meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, having you come to 2 meetings in December, it would just be this one.
I like it for the convenience of the committee. I'm like, it is kind of a busy time of year for people. I don't know if they're like school concerts and stuff going on. I mean, what do you think about? Well, yeah, Matt, you're keyed into that with kids.
Well,
and
yeah,
teacher.
now you got, I was just gonna say, yeah, that sounds great, and in place of the meeting and all that, and then you mentioned the school concert, and I remember there's always something in December that always conflicts, so I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I got to admit, I'm sitting there having trouble remembering the PowerSmart stuff, though. Can you give somebody give like a 2-minute summary of what that was again? I don't, I'm just blanking on it and I don't know why. I'm sorry.
So here's a, let's see. I don't know if you can see this,
We can,
but yeah, this is backup battery. This is put together by Pace. Oh, actually, that's not the one I wanted to pull up. Sorry. Okay. I think this is like a one-page flyer. So it's an incentive through Eversource and United Illuminating to install batteries in your home, and it's backup power, and the Power Smart program is to promote the combination of solar with the battery.
Mhm.
And so it lists the benefits. There's some federal tax credits and some Connecticut incentives as well.
All right,
So
now were they also promoting battery backup for the sake of without solar as well?
you could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if I heard that right. So basically, in other words, this is like taking the place of having a generator. You would have the battery backup. It would always be stored. If you lost power, then you would have the batteries to sustain you for a number of days until you got power back. But it almost makes most sense to do it with solar. But I guess if you aren't ineligible for solar, then you could at least have the battery option. Is that right?
Yes. And this is the publicity. It's not complete. There's a logo that's needed here, but this is that's a picture of Mansfield.
well, Ginny, we're not seeing that one. We're still on the Pace thing.
Oh, you are?
Vista
Huh.
Solar.
Huh. I wonder why not. Okay. Um,
You know, I had a suggestion too, and I don't know if this is even possible, but I know it's intimidating to think about going to solar. It's a lot of money or what's going to happen. What would be really cool, and I don't know if the town of Mansfield could supply this for people, but what would be really cool, you talked about having somebody come in and talk about they have it or something like that. What would be really neat, I think, is if we were able to get some people that were willing to share the information about, okay, this is what it cost. This was, the kickback you got from the government. This is the total out of pocket, and then you could decide yourself whether you're taking a loan for it or not. But it's without having to go through the process, because I know a lot of people I talk to, and myself included, it's just like, when I've talked to the people at Home Depot about solar, when I've talked to the people, there was a guy that was going door to door for a while. It's like they just want to sign you up, and it's like you don't really know what you're getting into. So my reaction, and many people I know their reaction is to just be like, all right, I'm not doing this because they can't answer my question. I couldn't even get a business card from the guy that showed up in my driveway the one day. But do you know what I'm saying? Like if you could get like actual examples of people, not list their address, but that are Mansfield residents and when they got this and what it looked like for them. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's possible or people would be willing to do that.
Yeah, I think we could ask just basic information from PowerSmart on that and any residents who are going to share their experience to include that.
can you see the flyer now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. So, that's what it is. It's
Okay.
And when
So-
and when somebody goes to get solar in Mansfield, is there one company that does it or are there multiple companies that do it? I know that you can, my brother-in-law down in Mystic, he ended up getting the Tesla roof, which is kind of cool in some regard, but boy, if Tesla goes out of business, nobody knows how to deal with that, I don't think. But solar panels are kind of a nice option because everybody knows them and a lot of companies deal with them. is there one company that does it, or are there multiple companies that bid on it, or how does it even work? Cause that might be interesting to have too, if we're gonna launch this thing.
It's you select from approved vendors. So
For the solar and the battery.
yeah.
We have options. So
Thank
yeah,
you,
these
guys.
are all good questions, maybe, yeah, to help inform what we want to be sure to have answers on for the 13th. How are people feeling about the 13th? Should we just bite the bullet and go for it and try to do some outreach to get people there?
I'm okay for me.
And you asked Ginny what time people thought would be good for the in-person meeting. I mean, is 6 good?
I think 6 is good. We're
Yeah.
talking winter, it's dark, we don't know what the weather's gonna be like. Yeah, I wouldn't have it any later than 6 and only go like from 6 to 7.
Yeah. I like that. Will the Power Smart people be there, Ginny?
Yes,
Okay.
they will. Yes.
They can answer all these questions. So yeah, what do you think, what's the best way for outreach? I mean, I know the town has lots of ways to get out information. Are there other things we should be considering?
Well, is there a patch newspaper that is that I mean I guess that's online, right? The patch.
Yeah, I get the patch. I subscribe to the patch for Mansfield, so that does hit all of Mansfield.
And then it could go in the neighbor's newspaper and
What
on social media.
What about that magazine, Mansfield magazine that comes in the mail all the time? Now I'm blanking on the name of it. It always features
Uh-huh.
like a different person or family on the cover.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know about it.
Yeah, I'll go look it up. I got one right upstairs. Hold on.
Maybe, like Margaret, I'm sure, right? Ginny could help give advice or whatever.
Margaret, yeah, she
Working
could.
into the
Yeah,
town manager.
yes, yep. So there were some other things in our conversation about this. So a kickoff meeting, then that would be December 13th. Then having a virtual meeting with the Green Bank. So the Green Bank is partnering in this, and so they would do a presentation, but we could make the hybrid. I see. When did that come out, Matt?
That one. Oh, my mute wasn't on. I hope you didn't hear me when I fell up the stairs. Just
I heard
now.
some exclamation. I was like,
Push
I
us
hope
up,
he's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I fell. I tripped on something on the stairs. That was November 2023.
Oh, okay. So it's still
Yeah, so
still
they,
happening.
I
What's it
didn't know there
called?
was such a magazine.
What is it
it's wonderful.
called?
It's called Mansfield Connections.
Okay.
It says bringing together neighbors of Mansfield.
All right.
All right.
And yeah, it's probably somewhere in here. Where I know you can recommend, like, if your neighbors are doing something extraordinary. They might even want to do a story on this program. I could take a picture and I could send it to you, Ginny, and then because there's contact for advertising, but again, it says ideas, feedback, submissions. We're always happy to hear from you. So the deadlines are the 25th of each month. So we might be able to make it for, I don't know if they've got something already for December, but I wonder if they'd want to do a story on that or something like that. Because they do local stuff about Mansfield. So
Do you so yeah, if you could send me the contact
Okay, I'll take a picture.
That's a
Okay.
Good idea.
And I'm gonna mute myself before I try to go down those stairs again. I apologize
Be
for that.
careful. Don't hurt yourself.
I was so excited. I had this magazine. I'm like, I just saw it. I know it's upstairs. I go tearing up and then I trip and I fall. And luckily I didn't knock any teeth out, but although that might have
Wow.
helped my appearance, I'm not sure. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
So yeah, some things that the town could do is a virtual meeting with Green Bank, a home tour. So somebody who has the setup, opening up their home for a tour, question and answer period. And Bob and Patrice were open to other ideas that this committee might have.
Those sound like good ideas and yeah, a start. Maybe, does anyone have any other thoughts right now? Or maybe we develop more outreach ideas as we get into it.
One thing that they did ask is if there's some committee members that would like to be part of and this is loosely created, but a core team. So the core team right now is me, Patrice, and Bob.
Oh, yeah, we need some committee members. Who wants to help out with that?
Wondering if we could volunteer Peter.
Yeah, I think
He's not
Peter-
here.
He's the solar guy. That's his priority.
All right, he's officially volunteered.
Is.
Well done.
Okay. Yeah, so all right, well then I'll get to work with arranging things for the 13th at 6 p.m. you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Ginny. And yeah, if like there's a description or something, send it out to us and we can send it to our friends and neighbors and people who we think might be interested.
Okay. Well, maybe that electronic flyer about Mansfield, maybe that's what would be good to pass along.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
great.
Thanks.
Mhm.
All right. Deconstruction. Oh yeah. The committee.
Yeah, it's kind of fallen off the cliff. So I thought at this meeting, because there, let's see, are a few of you who are involved with the subcommittee, maybe we could arrange a next meeting. It seems like that would be easier than sending out an email. But as far as any progress report, there is under the Inflation Reduction Act, there are implementation grants for solid waste, for waste resilience, and deconstruction and reuse of materials, building materials, could conceivably qualify. Not conceivably, it does qualify for grant funds. So I've put the word out. Is this something that the state DEP, like, could it be a state project? Or I reached out to CROG, which Mansfield's a member of CROG, but we're not really in that urban zone. So, but is it something that CROG would undertake? So I'm looking at building infrastructure for deconstruction practices and job training, because that's a piece to it of it as well. So Krog seemed interested and asked that I be a part of this, I think it's CCM meeting next week, and bring that forward as one of the priorities. So we could, the subcommittee could meet, and we could start looking at, there was a really good deconstruction webinar, and Katie, I've lost track of it at this point, but it was before the festival, because you and I talked about it at the festival.
Mhm.
So I'll
Right.
scrounge it up. I thought that might really be good grounding for the subcommittee to at least listen to part of the webinar, maybe over a series of a couple meetings, but to kind of get footing on what seems really practical action. So yeah, so that was kind of like the next steps, was looking at, could there be some grant funding for infrastructure? And I have not contacted Eco Building Bargains, which is up in Springfield, or the Reconstruction Center. Those are the two bigger more local outlets for reusable or reused building materials or surplus building materials. So I don't think, though, that Vinton School is really a good location for building materials. It's just too tight a space, and there'd be a lot of corners to navigate. So I think that would be an issue. I mean, it is a pretty empty building because I was there, but just I think would be difficult to manage large pieces of things. So anyhow, for those of you that are interested in deconstruction and meeting on this, just wondered when might be a good time. I don't know that Susanna wants to continue meeting for this, but I'm not quite sure. I just Mondays, I think, Katie, you said the fourth Mondays of the month were good.
Yes,
Yeah.
because the first and the third, I have planning and zoning, and the second, I have my park association meeting. So the only Monday I have is the fourth one.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the fourth is, right after Christmas. It's the 27th, or I don't know if you wanted to. Oh, I'm looking at November. No,
Right.
the fourth is Christmas. Sorry. So I
Well, yeah, that month. So
probably
I could
next
meet
December.
the second Monday. I could meet the second Monday because we're not going to have a park meeting. So I could do it then.
That would be the 11th. So that would be
Yeah.
two things that week.
That week. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of tough.
So so really, okay. So Katie and Lynn, just maybe if you want to email me, if December's too busy, then if you want to look at the end of January, for instance, just give me the word. And
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that fourth Monday in general looks fine for me. I think that's when we're meeting, and maybe starting up in January is. an easy-
okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you. All right, sustainable CT update. Excuse me.
Yeah. Okay. So, I spoke to Dorothy, who works for Sustainable CT, and gave her the list that Lena had worked on. And Katie, I think you contributed to it too, didn't you? Or was it Lena's?
I think it was all Lena.
Okay. So she took the list and she worked with it, and I sent you I sent you the list today. But what she did is she really looked closely at the actions and identified points, and I can just share like for instance here on can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. On the Affordable Housing Committee, she indicates like it highlighted in yellow that the Affordable Housing Commission is likely eligible for points under 11.1. And so going through this document, she really spells out the actions that it looks like these committees are working on and would fit in nicely with Sustainable CT. So and so I really appreciate all the time that she put into this, because she put a lot of time into it. So the next steps, as I see it, is going to these various committees, which is something I said I would do. And I think also I won't go through the whole list because it's a lot to look at, but I think the Board of Ed was the only thing that she didn't comment on, but Susanna Everett and I had sat down together and identified some actions that probably are very probably fit in very nicely with what the Board of Ed is doing. So it means going to the committees and staff people and saying, here, this is what we think you're working on. What do you think of this? And can you keep, keep this at the forefront as you're working on various projects, like that this can be eligible for Sustainable CT. We really would like a gold status in 2025. So it really means very focused, deliberate, record keeping actions that we might qualify. So, I mean, I don't know if there's any volunteers here that want to reach out to any of those committees that are on the list. And if you want me to just go indicate the committees, I can do that right now. But otherwise, yeah, just raise your hand if you like. There's the Economic Development Commission that needs to be approached. The Youth Services Advisory Board, Conservation Commission. I mean, it's probably fairly easy for me to, because I'm here, to just go to my colleagues and say, look, what do you think of this? The Downtown Partnership. So it goes on.
Yeah, at what point we had like a subgroup working on Sustainable CT with Lena and Josh.
Yeah.
If they're still interested or
that subgroup could be called back together. Yeah.
I mean, or maybe they're interested in just continue with some of that outreach that you're looking for, or connections.
Yeah,
Well, I'll still, because there is a time at a planning and zoning meeting that I can talk with somebody. We have a regulatory review committee. And the one thing that I'm for is getting into the regulations language for deconstruction. And I think they're the group that needs to be approached.
mhm.
And if I would even be willing to email the committee and present them with some stuff that I got from like Jeff Gordon and that type of thing that I shared with you for deconstruction language to be put in. And the regulatory review committee meets at least once a month. And they go through all of the language of the zoning, and we're going into a whole new set of updated regulations that they've gone through. And I went through them today and don't find anything on deconstruction.
Mhm.
There's a little bit on construction, but not a lot on deconstruction. So I would be willing to be a liaison that way and make sure that they get information on what we might want for wording in it.
Mhm. Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Katie. It's great. Yeah. I don't know, Ginny, maybe as you look over the list, if you need help, and like maybe Lena and Josh or others who are working on some of that stuff would want to assist. I'm going to continue to recuse myself from this work. I don't know if anyone else is interested in helping out.
All right, yeah. So if I'll reach out to Lena. I don't Josh didn't volunteer to do anything, I don't think. Did he?
I just thought he was like kind of
Oh,
sharing that when
yes, right. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Lena said she would reach out to the ag committee. So I'll get in touch with her about that. And yeah. All right. And see if I can get Susanna to continue to work with Board of Ed, and Katie will work with planning and zoning. So that's a good spread out.
Yeah,
Oh.
that sounds great.
Okay.
Awesome. Recycling coordinators report. That's you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to fill you in on some of the things that have been going on the solid waste side of things. We went out to bid for single family service in the summer, and we have a new contract. It's with Casella, which is still holding the name of Willimantic Waste Paper. In that bid, I put in curbside compost collection, food scrap collection as a bid item, and also once a month trash and recycle pickup, and in-yard service. Nobody bid on the in-yard service, so that's not coming back, it doesn't look like. But Willimantic Waste Paper Casella did bid on the collection. They were awarded it. They also bid on an alternate. So they are offering rental of a food cycler, which is an in-house appliance that you would rent from them or from through the town. We would, and it dehydrates food. It doesn't make compost, but what it does is creates this dehydrated kind of peat moss, inert, non-smelling stuff, and that you could then sprinkle it on your lawn, on the garden. It still needs to it needs to decompose, but it's not smelly in the process because it's totally dehydrated. So that would be appropriate for people without backyards that aren't composting. And it's $20 a month to rent it. So, and the town's not going to be, what we're proposing to town councils not to subsidize it. So the other option is curb pickup of food scraps, and that would be a weekly pickup. We would need 100 households to subscribe to it before a route could be built. And the contractor is Blue Earth Compost out of Hartford. I had thought at the time when we put together the bid proposal, that the farm in Coventry, which is 8 miles away, that's High Tone Farm, which has an anaerobic digester, would be accepting food scraps. They are not, and won't be for, I don't know how long. So, so at this point, if we do get enough residents that are interested, and the monthly cost for that would be $14.75. So, so we're just passing through these costs from residents to the trash companies, and but we're the ones responsible for billing people and collecting the funds. So, like we are with trash service. So, yeah. So what we would probably do if we really do get enough people that are signing up for the curbside collection, when we see like, yeah, there's enough interest here, I would do my third proposal to DEP for a demonstration project, for one more composting demonstration project, and propose to have the residential food scraps taken to the transfer station. That would be the best ecological option, better than taking it to the Southington anaerobic digester, because that's where it would, start out at until DEP approved the demonstration project, which is only a temporary thing. It's a 5-year project, but the dream is that one of these days they'll permit it. They'll just create a permit for it. So that's what's coming up. As far as the carbon footprint of all this, because that's really important, from my perspective, it's like, are we going backwards or forwards in this? So backyard composting's the best. Taking food scraps to the driving it to the transfer station is next best. Those two actions actually sequester some carbon, and then using the food cycler is the next best option. You're not sequestering any carbon there. You're putting a little bit into the atmosphere, but not as much as incinerating food scraps. And the next better option is before trash incineration is curbside collection. So what I don't want to see happen is people who are doing backyard composting say, oh yeah, it'd be simpler to have my food scraps picked up curbside. No. We don't want that, because actually the fuel, and the emissions from the vehicle. It's really the fuel that's the big piece. It's 86 miles to Southington. It is carbon emitting to do it that way. So that's what's happening, and the town council is going to review that on Monday. And after that, depending on what they decide, as far as rates, because the contracts are signed, we're doing it. It's just they have to approve rates. Then we're going to start publicizing it and see what kind of interest there is in the community. The other thing that started at the beginning of the school year is we're rescuing food from the high school, middle school, and elementary school. So anything that's left over that's not going to be used another day within the school is being rescued and taken to the Coventry Soup Kitchen. So I and volunteers are doing that Monday through Friday. And it's well received by the kitchen staff and extremely well received by the soup kitchen. It does seem like there is there's an infrastructure in this area for fruits and vegetables and baked goods. So that there does seem that those things are happening in our region. What is not happening is prepared foods, like leftover prepared foods. And one of my wishes, desires, fantasies is, before I get too old and decrepit, is really to build this out and have food rescue for restaurants. If a restaurant has a whole tray of lasagna and it's going to be thrown out. It's still good, but it's going to be thrown out. Then why not have some app, some mechanism for, letting somebody know
Right.
and then getting it to the soup kitchen. The soup kitchen says they have the capacity and would welcome more prepared foods. So that's what's been happening and what we're working on.
I have a question on the curbside pickup of compost stuff, of meat, scraps.
Yeah.
Are they going to provide the deal, or?
Yeah.
I know there's another town that's using a certain bag to buy,
Yeah.
and it says it's just for food scraps.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
in added cost plus the
Bags.
$14.95 a month.
Yes, whatever. Yeah. So we will for those people signed up for the curb collection, we would tell those individuals, if they want to use bags, this is the bag that you got to use, because it's truly is biodegradable. A lot of quote unquote biodegradable bags aren't biodegradable. So
my other question is Casella going to be able to take the black recyclable plastic containers, food containers? Because before, under Willie Waste, we couldn't put those. We had to put them in our trash. We couldn't recycle them because they couldn't read it because they were black.
Right. It's the same deal. Yeah, it's just the same
Okay.
deal. So yeah. The last thing is that the Solid Waste Advisory Committee is also, and they're volunteers doing the food rescue from the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. So they're doing it every week, so they're really on it. The other thing the Solid Waste Advisory Committee is working on is getting a setup for taking electronics that are still working and usable, which is a higher higher environmental footprint than taking it to recycling where it gets shredded, the component parts are separated. Some of it gets recycled, some of it doesn't, so if it's already made, it's working, get into the hands of somebody who can use it. So there's a shipping and has been there for a few months now. We're trying to gather material to build benches and shelves in the shipping container. And Zlotnick's Construction has offered some of their materials that they've accumulated over the years, like extras and leftovers from jobs. So once we have that built, we will start accepting electronics for reuse. And
Yeah.
so that's pretty exciting.
That's great stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
Hey, Jenny, I have a question. First of all, it's so awesome that you got the food rescue thing going on. That is just so awesome to hear that. And thanks for doing that. That's just incredible. I did have a question about the composting. Do we know what percentage of Mansfield residents do backyard composting? Yeah, I didn't think that was
No.
that easy to know. All right,
No.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wonder if on the trash, when people come in to sign up for trash service, if we could ask people, I don't, although then that generates more waste, but never mind. It'd be interesting to know what percentage of people are doing that. Or I wonder how many people never thought about doing that. But there's usually a flyer that comes at the trash thing about recycling. I wonder if we could make a little flyer about backyard composting too, or something, if that would help.
And I
Now-
think we also should do some more, a new flyer or something telling about what we can recycle and what we can't recycle. That would be good. Mine is so beat up now, I can hardly read it.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that is coming with this new contract is an app that we will be launching, and this is through Casella, but it's Mansfield information on this app. So for for a certain section of the population, that will probably be useful. I mean, all the information you're talking about is on the Mansfield website. There are web pages devoted to recycling with charts, with flyers, what's accepted, what's not, what we take at the transfer station. There are videos of the transfer station. There's a video of what happens to recycling. We go to Willimantic Waste Paper and see it being sorted. So there's loads of information. Some of that will go on the app, and maybe it'll be viewed a little bit more. I don't know. So, but yeah, it's good suggestions about the trash bill insert.
Hey, Jenny, if the curbside composting takes off for the people that don't have the ability to backyard compost, or not curbside composting, curbside pickup, will the waste company start giving a credit to the town if they notice a reduction? Because isn't all the waste measured in terms of weight, or won't that really happen? Is there any kind of financial incentive for the town?
Yeah, because our tonnage will go down. We pay $115 now a ton. So the less tonnage we have, the less that is being absorbed by the solid waste fund, which all of you pay into one way or another,
Right.
so.
Right.
Would it ever get to the point where they could almost do the curbside food scrap bins for a reduced price, or for a lesser price, or for even free, if our tonnage goes down with that?
Not free, but yes, if there's a greater threshold, like if there are 500 people that have curbside service, then the price will probably go down. So yeah.
Okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yay. Awesome waste progress. Any other comments or questions on recycling coordinator's report? Okay, is there any other business?
Sorry, I do have one other thing I didn't put on the agenda. Meeting
ahead.
dates for
Meeting dates for
2024.
next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we usually start by saying, is there any problem with what we've been doing? Which is the
Second
third,
week.
second
Second.
Wednesday at 6.
All right,
That continue to work for people?
I like that, yeah.
fine, yeah.
And
I
do
like
you
it
want it,
too.
do you want
Yeah.
it to be virtual or in person?
Virtual.
Virtual, fine.
Virtual's usually easier.
Yeah.
It was fun to meet in the summer though, and it was warm
Yeah.
outside.
Maybe we try to do
One, two.
at least one in person.
Sure, that'd be
Do
great.
one in person next summer and we can see the woodchucks again.
Sit
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the picnic table. Okay, does that work for you, Ginny? Okay. Any last items, Matt?
I had one thing, I think everybody on the committee was getting those emails about developing the northwest corner of Mansfield and like how we can steer the development. It makes me nervous. Obviously development's never gonna stop, but it always makes me nervous because it's so beautiful. Mansfield is so beautiful. And there's so much open space and forested space and trees and everything. And it reminds me of where I grew up. It was like that. And then now when I go back home to visit, all the trees are gone, all the forest, all the grass is gone, everything literally is developed. And it's outside of Cleveland where that is. And it's just crazy. So I was just wondering if our committee was going to try to make any recommendations as a committee to that group that was soliciting the information about really making developers incorporate more. And I don't know if there's already legal regulations on this, but developing more open space in their designs of their properties, of their developments, of their, even if it's something like storefronts or something like that. If they did it in such a way that there's some natural areas or even buffer areas surrounding it, so that way it could still have some corridors for wildlife, if you will, or things like that. And I didn't know if that's something the committee would want to do or make a recommendation for, or I don't know. That was just my thought that I wanted to share today.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. There is a meeting, Northwest Mansfield Community Workshop tomorrow at 6:30 at the Mansfield Elementary School. So as a starter, I would encourage anyone's welcome to go to that. I plan to attend. And maybe we kind of educate ourselves a little bit, learn more about what's going on. My understanding is the POS, the Plan of Conservation and Development, is like this is feeding into that as well. Yeah, Katie.
I just wanted to also make a remark about what Matthew has brought up, that the regulations, the zoning regulations are on the town of Mansfield site. And the zoning board, planning board does pay special attention to making sure, because unfortunately we do have quite a few housing developments, I should say townhouse developments coming into town. And they are supposed to have green space. They've got to leave certain amount of trees. They have to be so many feet away from wetlands to preserve the wetlands. So there is some structure in place to sort of try to protect that. And I will say, if you're really concerned, watch a planning and zoning meeting, especially with all of the new developments that are coming in the Four Corners area. I know that there's one group that is coming in across from Rolling Hills. They've got, well, it's two, but it's going to be like one big one. And they're only in the inland wetlands. They have they're still doing open committees. Down the street where the old golf course was, that one has been approved. There's another one that's going in between the Standard, which is being built now, and where Mike's Pizza and Toast is and Hops 44. There's another one that wants to go in that way, and they're only in inland wetlands. So, and we do have public hearings, and it is a good chance to have your voice heard, especially to protect our open spaces
Right.
and also protect, our trees and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and keep people going with what the planning and zoning has already put down on paper and made the rules. So.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Katie.
Thank you.
Very
Yeah, so
good, yeah.
let's keep an eye on that as emerging issues and opportunities, and continue to learn, and then we can discuss, Matt and others, if it makes sense for this committee to engage in some way as a group. Okay, so it's 7:03. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. All right, great to see everyone.
Thank you.
Thanksgiving. And we'll
Yep.
see you in December at the
Okay.
live meeting in
Right.
person for PowerSmart.
Yes,
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
thank
much.
you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.